We have an amazing, a beautiful goddess coming on today. She is the epitome of the divine feminine, soft, elegant, graceful, gorgeous, fit, feminine, and friendly. The perfect exampleship of how a lady ought to conduct herself. She is the wife of one man, and she is a mother as well, and she owns her own company. You talk about somebody that has it all. I cannot wait to explain to you how amazing she is. So check in, family. Let us know where you're hailing from. I'm just so excited to bring this goddess, empress, queen before you. She is the wife of Asir, the Duke of Tears, who we brought on the show before. He is a PhD in jurisprudence and is a historian. And he talked to us about the Republic, and he told us he has a beautiful queen. And without her, he said, he wouldn't be able to do the amazing work that he does. So keep checking in, family. I am so glad to see you all. You're telling me where you're hailing from. Hello, Sister Elizabeth. She said, wow, you don't stop. No. Hello, everyone. Keep checking in and let us know what's going on in your neck of the woods. So today we have a special guest, and I'm going to read her bio, then I'll bring her on. Stay with me, family, because when I finish reading this bio, you're going to ask, who is this phenomenal woman? Her name is Celina Nigel Cordoba L. She is a mother, a classically trained actress, a natural alchemist, a writer, a master yogi, an herbalist, and CEO of Cordoba Organics. Celina grew up in Brooklyn, New York, and she attended PS 45 in Brunswick, which led her to Philippia S. Schuler Middle School for the gifted and talented. She then attended LaGuardia High School for the Performing Arts, and she graduated in 1995. She was also a scholarship student at Dance Theater of Harlem and Alvin Ailey. If you're my age, you know how phenomenal that is. Performing in Porgy and Bess on Broadway to tap dancing with Gregory Hines, Celina is most grateful for growing up with grandparents in the same home as her mom and her sister. She attended Syracuse University for drama and graduated with her bachelor's in fine arts. Celina is also an accomplished master yogi instructor. At the age of 15, she dislocated her knees and underwent open knee reconstructive surgery on both of her knees. And this completely changed her life. It was that year that she gave up meat and dairy, and she began her vegetarian wellness journey. Accompanied with that little hiccup that she experienced, she also lost her mom at the age of 19 when she was just a sophomore in college. Her mom was over anesthetized, and she passed away at the hospital for special surgery in New York from malpractice. After that, she went back to school, graduating on time with a 3.8 grade point average, completely on her own with no family in attendance at her graduation in 1999. It was then that she decided to cut her hair and start a natural wellness journey and developed her own form of yogi or yoga in her hometown of Brooklyn, New York. She met her husband at 22 years old. She had never dated and never looked back since she met her husband. Her skincare brand, Cordoba Organics, began in 2009 after the birth of her son, Amor. The only 100% Moorish American owned organic beauty, skincare, natural remedy line in the world is what Cordoba Organics is. Made from organic butters, herbs, and organic infused oils, Cordoba Organics use no shea butter in any of her 85 plus recipes that she on her own created. She sought after the purest organic ingredients and herbs that she learned while attaining her doctorate in holistic medicine in 2004. Don't you get chills? This woman is amazing. Her 85 plus product line contains no perfumes or fragrances, no additives, no colorants, no mica powders, no shea butters, no parabens, and no chemicals. And she'll tell you why when she comes on. Nothing is outsourced. Everything is made by hand daily. It's not found, if it's not found in nature, it's not in her products. The product line includes body, hair, and face products that will, after daily use, refine the quality of your hair and your skin. And I'll add this so that you can glow to the gods. Its infused herbal therapy and anti aging properties are undeniable. From organic handmade gel based olive oil shampoos and body washes to physical therapy, skin, and hair remedies. And you'll see her glorious locks. Celina has always sought natural modalities of healing and energy renewal. Always a creative, she decided to channel her love of hip hop. And she did 2 albums with her husband, Asir, the Duke of Tears, as Team Cordoba. Celina uses her Moorish Panamanian roots and culture to inspire others to keep their heritage alive while promoting overall spiritual health, yoga, holistic cooking, with cooking more with less videos, and over the last 14 years, her life-changing skin and hair products that are now sold consistently on a worldwide level, thanks to you also, family. Raising her now, I would say he's probably 16-year-old son. At the time we had this, it was 15. With her husband Asir in Miami, life is honestly just beginning for these two, and especially for this 46, 47-year young Brooklyn native. And without any further ado, family, let me welcome you, the most beautiful, amazing goddess and empress here, Sister
This woman.
L.
Thank you. That was so humbling and wonderful. You know, sometimes people have one career and then you're like, this woman could be a narrator. Thank you so much. That was incredible. Sometimes you hear your story and you're like, that's my life. And, you know, you sit back because all the stuff that you listed and talked about, it really is taking 20 plus, 25 plus years to accumulate. It's not like you do all these things overnight or, you know, have all this story to tell. Like, yeah, I am going to be 47. And it's just so humbling. And thank you for just doing such an amazing job. You know, sometimes I hear my story and I'm just like, oh my goodness, I forgot I went through all of that. But yes, that is my journey from Brooklyn to here, now Miami Beach. And I just wanted to thank you for the platform and the opportunity tonight to be here with you guys and to become, you know, what you called me, the goddess that I am. It's so amazing to hear because I, you know, had hard moments in my life where I felt that I had to really protect and take care, and you know, there wasn't anybody else to do so. So I'm just really grateful that I have been able to grow into a soft space in my life and really practice the femininity that I've read about and that I've wanted to become for all these years. So I really appreciate it. I really, really do. Thank you for having me.
And now tell us, how was it, you know, after your mom had passed away at 19, try like coming into womanhood? You had just reached like womanhood, you know, right? Just a year after.
I actually have one sister who, you know, is, I would say the journey has been a little bit more difficult to actually watch someone suffer from just certain mental illnesses that I didn't necessarily have to go through. I'm not only grateful, but the week that she passed away was the same week that my sister graduated college. She's 2 years older than me. So it was really hard for her and for us. But, you know, I sometimes think about that, like, wow, all the 4 years she put into school and stuff as well, to lose my mom the week that, you know, she had to graduate from college, it definitely affected her and it affected me as well. But, you know, everybody goes through things. And this is sometimes, you know, it's a harsh thing to say to someone that might be mourning or be mourning for a longer period of time. You can't necessarily put an exclamation point or an expiration date on mourning. I meant to say expiration. But I always said, you know, I don't want this to become my life story or this to define who I am. And it might have been just telling myself I want to move forward and find joy in life and not stay stuck in this tragedy that happened to her. It took me years to move on from it. And those years when you're 19 and, you're still, I think about it because I'm more 16 in a couple months. And I'm like, wow, 3 years from 16. But it's to say that I had a great journey with my mother when she was alive. And, I made it to college. So I was a sophomore and I just decided to stay and stick it out and to finish. And more so than that, I always refer to other people's stories and think about how much other people have endured. I've been healthy all these years. I haven't had any huge health scares other than the stuff that's happened to me physically with my knees and, just little stuff, not anything that I sometimes read other people go through. And so for me, I always think about how much harder it could have been if I did find myself in a homeless state, or if I did, for a long period of time. Because I remember being, homeless for a while, for about 6 to 8 months when I was like 21 and I just graduated. And, you're couch surfing, you're thinking about how to make money. All of these things definitely shape who you are, but I never really wanted to sit in sorrow or to be something that I knew naturally I wasn't, which was someone that would turn into a depressed, sad person. So, making a choice to try to help my sister and to be there for 10 plus years. And then, for her to not find certain journeys or to not find certain peace of mind. It was difficult because you have to also say to yourself, do I want to drown with this person, or am I going to eventually say, look, it's been 10 plus years. You can't keep referring to this date of her death as the defining point in your life. And it can sound insensitive, but, for me, being there for so many years for someone else, it took time away from me finding, my own journey and just taking time to say, I deserve, some sympathy and some. When you're helping someone else, it's very difficult for them to think about what you might be going through.
It's true.
And my sister never really had the emotional dexterity to be there for me. And that was something I also had to find peace with, and just saying, not everybody can move forward with ease, but is this going to also be something that I want to take care of for the rest of my life? Or am I eventually going to say, you have to figure out your way, and I'll be here, but I can't, make your bed, make your meals, almost treat you like my daughter. I have to say you're my older sister and things happen. But if you keep referring to this point in your life, which she had for years, for over 15 years, then it's sometimes hard to move forward. So with that, I'd say it wasn't an easy journey, but it started to become easier after I made peace with the fact that this was still her calling, my mother's calling in life. And even though it was an accident, what took place, if you read and study metaphysics or anything outside of yourself, you're like, wow, to know that you come into the world with an exit date. If you think things like that, or you say to yourself, she still made a contract to leave this physical plane, even though it was taken, abruptly from her. So many people have tragic events in their life, and it's still somewhat to say, this is what happened on their journey. So to make peace with that, definitely took some maturity and took some just time to really be quiet and sit with myself. And I did do that for years. So being grateful that I didn't suffer from certain issues where I wasn't able to move forward, or I would have to stay in certain, therapy sessions longer than, you start to say to yourself, look, if I keep this up, if I keep crying about, eventually you got to move forward in life. So, it sounds cold, but I now know that not everybody has that emotional space where they can say that to themselves and move forward. I've had to make peace with that was something that she couldn't do. And it's weird to me, because what's strange is that sometimes it's like, if you're in control of your own thoughts and your own feelings, then you should be able to say, okay, it's been 6 years that I've been crying every day. Eventually, I don't want to do this anymore. But I've learned through speaking to therapists and speaking to people that she's had to also see that that's not easy for everyone. And to have the empathy and the sympathy to know that not everybody can move forward from, tragedy is something that's humbled me as well.
Yeah, that took a tremendous amount of strength, I would think, and wisdom, like to understand that people came with an exit date. I never even thought of it like that. And to make
Yeah.
peace with that, and it's your mom, like that took a lot of strength.
Thank you.
You're
Yes, it
welcome.
did. But other people go through so much as well and lose family members. And so for me, I've also just wanted to, it's like that thought that you're not the only one in the world that's
Mhm.
experiencing certain things. So to also just take myself out of my story and to look
Mhm.
at it with the bird's eye view and say, okay, now what am I going to do with what I've learned? Or how can I help someone else that might be going through
Mhm.
tragedy or loss? And how do you have to be an example for yourself first before you help anyone else. You can't say, let me help you with this, but you didn't figure it out for yourself. So I'm grateful for everything that's happened and
And
for what it led me to in my life. So
yes, and so I'm reading your bio and I'm thinking, I hear myself. I'm sorry if you hear this echo, but I remember Alvin Ailey, the dancers. I remember Gregory Hines, and I'm like, I'm speaking to a woman who danced with him and acted on
yes, I
Broadway.
did.
It's
It was
just,
wonderful. When you're like that 16, 15, 16 year old,
yeah.
to have the opportunity to meet Gregory Hines and him, it was a gala performance. It was like, I believe it was 50 years with Dance Theater Harlem, like their 50th gala, or maybe it might be their 25th, but it was a gala performance. And
Okay.
he would come to our rehearsals, every week for like a month straight. And, because I'm the shortest in the group,
Mm.
I was in the front row and he would always, just he knew my name. He would look at me like, I got to keep up. And to remember that I did stuff like that, with someone so exalted and amazing,
Yeah.
it makes me smile because I remember how amazing of an individual he was, and just kind-hearted and
Mhm.
gracious and humble. And I met Savion Glover through that experience.
Oh.
And you know, I'm very grateful that I had those years where I put in a lot of work and a lot of practice to even have stories like that to be able to tell. But yeah, I'm 47 now. I just laugh because it feels like you're older than 10. You're older, and I'm like, I don't even think of age in terms of oldness. It's more
Yeah.
so like, oh yeah, I was born in 1977, so it's Asir's a little older than me, so I always just feel very grateful to be around people that still have youthful energy, regardless of what their age may be. But yeah, I'm getting up there, so it's also really fun because I just told Asir, I don't know if certain tragic moments in our life or certain traumatic events kind of freeze people in time, but I just now starting to feel like I'm 25, 26. I don't feel 47,
Oh.
and it might be because at the time of my mother's loss, um, or when she passed away, there was a part of me that froze in that moment in time. Like I kind of
Mhm.
stayed really young because I didn't really have certain support to usher me into my womanhood. So there
Mhm.
was still a part of me that was very, very like very young, very like, okay, I'm 25, but I've been on my own and I still feel so young because, I just saw there's a part of me that sometimes think that it was also rewarding to just be frozen in that moment in time
Mhm.
because you kind of do stay a little stuck in that energy. And
Mhm.
that's kind of what, I had to allow myself to grow up and say, I don't want to be, 21 or 19 anymore. I'm looking forward to growing into my womanhood. So
But it's
I'm
so
grateful.
light. You're so light. It's refreshing. It's refreshing.
Oh, thank you.
One that's
You gotta be, girl. There's enough. I'm
bubbly.
like, there's enough heaviness in the world that I really, I try not to think about stuff that's gonna bring me down for too long. And I am very don't get it twisted. I'm a Virgo. I can be very emotional. I cry, every month. I'm very, but I cry for a couple minutes and then I
Mhm.
go for a bike ride or I run on the beach. And I
Mm.
try to always use exercise and yoga. I go
Mm.
to the steam room a lot. Like use those moments to just forward, push yourself out of that emotional space. You don't have to stay stuck. But yeah, I watch. Sears always like, well, you'll watch a movie, and I'll cry in the movie all the time if it's something beautiful, a beautiful story or romance. I'm very emotional at times, but because of that, there's also like, I know who I am now. I'm a very happy person and I
Yes.
have a lot to be grateful for. So I don't try to dim that or make it like I'm supposed to be this brutish, angry girl. I'm just not.
Mm.
So I'm very grateful that I found, he's like, you're a comedian. Every day we laugh because it's easier to laugh than it is to be sad. It really is easier to just
Mm.
smile and laugh through stuff and make your own jokes about things.
Yes.
And, just thinking about taking time off. Somebody wrote me the other day and they're like, do you still sell products? And I make and sell so consistently now.
Yeah.
Thank God that I've taken time off of social media just to stretch myself with my product line or to connect with people through emails every day or through just answering questions about what they should use for their hair or, being more present outside of that platform just because it will increase my sales and because it's just me making stuff. I have like one or two helpers now, but
Oh,
I
wow.
still like getting my hands involved because so many of my products have fresh herbs in them.
Mm.
And I don't really, it's like that whole theory with cooking. I don't like too many cooks in my pot. You just want to cook your own meal. So, I'll have help with people with shipping labels and with ordering, bottles every day or, products ingredients wise. But in terms of making everything, I really like having my own recipes just on the fly that I don't have to look in my book anymore to find
Mm.
out. Do I use a cup of marjoram? Do
Mm.
I use 2 tablespoons of calendula? Like, I just know it so well now that I'm grateful to pass it on to like a more to try
Yeah.
to, give him his little summer jobs where he makes his
Mm.
little money making, a couple products with me. But I really don't want a lot of energy involved in it because, I'm real finicky with the gloves and with the
Mm.
hair wraps during the process and making sure, I had cats a little while ago, but I got rid of them
Mm.
because I was able to get a little space to really work in and I didn't want them to suffer from just not having someone be with them most of the day. So for me, also just thinking sanitary wise, like I never had my cats in my kitchen or in anything or in the space that I make stuff in. So even to get a space where I produce now, I didn't want any dirt, debris. Like I'm real anal with cleaning and wiping everything down every day and just having certain energy around where I make products is really important to me. So,
Yeah.
having my music on, my jazz, my classical, there's a ritual that goes into stuff that you do, even if you're like cooking, major meals or anything like that. So, we talked about the ancient aspect of alchemy. And
Yes.
really what the reason why I named it ancient skin alchemy was because it's really stuff that I learned through there's this book, it's called Garden of Eden, and it
Okay.
just like has all it's from Jethro's cloth, it's these old, like Mormon looking white folk. But long story short, it was like the first book that I got, real thick book that I got when I was maybe like 14, 15. And I put
Okay.
it down for a while, but then I picked it back up at like 17, 18.
Wow.
And I remember it was right before my mom passed. I started really getting into like herbs. And long story short, these remedies have been around for so long that I think through time, a lot of people sometimes forget the simplistic nature of how you can heal your body, your mind, skin ailments, even, having certain, I don't want to say disease, but like, the common colds,
Mm.
COVID, I'm grateful that I know vaccinations, never, having to go through extreme illness like that. But a lot of it is really just because I, try to be on it with my herbs every day, steaming with herbs, but also drinking my nettle tea and marjoram. And, if anyone has ever lost anyone, you might have gotten into smoking a little reefer, smoking a little marijuana. So I did a lot of that. But for, the past like 2 years now, I haven't smoked anything just to give up my little joints at night. I
Yeah.
really wanted to challenge myself and see if I can, go from like 95 pounds to now that I'm 106, 107 on a
Yeah.
good day. I
Okay.
wanted to gain weight. but in a natural way. So giving up herb for me, I actually put on weight. I didn't know that smoking kind of reduced my weight a little bit, but once I gave it up, just getting my boobs back, getting a little bum back, just being grateful to go from 95 to 105. And I'm only 5 foot. Sometimes people are like, oh my God, you're so light. But, being 4'11", 5 foot, I've always been on the petite side. But, there was a time I was 165 pounds when I was pregnant with Amore. So I remember, breastfeeding and losing weight naturally. And I think because sometimes when you are a little tiny, people remember you as that. So then when you put on weight, it's like, oh my God, you're huge. It's like, I remember being, having D's in high school. Like I ate dairy and turkey. And I remember getting off of meat and what it did to me physically. So, not to ever feel like I've got to tell people how to live their life or what to drink or what to do. It just, for me, I suffered from so many allergies and so many, just little things that really changed once I started drinking herbal teas like on the weekly basis and, juicing ginger and juicing turmeric root and having my little shots every day of these things and just staying consistent, drinking your chlorophyll. Not, I do a little dairy because Amore likes pizza. So I'll do like a pizza, once every 2 weeks, but I really don't buy any dairy. I don't drink any milk. Just staying consistent with certain things. I was a live foodist for a couple years before Amore was born. And then I remember being a little smaller and being like, wow, I don't want to be 90. I lost so much weight and was just straight muscle. It was great being a raw foodist, but I found myself going into being raw most of the day and then having one cooked meal a day. So I still to this day, like let's say Saturdays and Sundays, I'll just completely do juicing during the day and fruit all day and then have a salad at night. Like I try to juice on the weekends or fast on the weekends by just juicing and having a salad like that, just staying raw on the weekends. But during the week, I do my one cooked meal and the same with products. Just thinking of ways to incorporate herbs in my actual products that I didn't really find on the market. It's not to diss people that had made stuff, but for me, I really wanted to use the eucalyptus in my, my knees and turmeric on my skin every day. And I would find minute little minuscule amounts in people that did make stuff with herbs. And I kind of wanted to make double. Like, okay, this looks like some sprinkles of turmeric. I want to like juice a whole half a cup and put it in something to see how that works on the inflammation in my joints. And so that's really where it came from. Like thinking of like, wow, coffee butter, a lot of people make, use coffee butter, but it doesn't smell that potent of coffee. So how do I, and that's when it was like, use your dehydrator, use your juicer, like all the things that I would, dehydrate and juice, even dehydrating sometimes mushrooms and thinking of like, now you can dehydrate lion's mane and shiitake and figure out how to blend them into your actual products. That for me was something I realized took time, and not a lot of people have time to really be hands-on. Like we were talking earlier, and I said one thing I do want to try to remind people of is don't really, like, it sounds contrite, but don't compare your journey with what you do in life with anybody else's. You don't know how they got there. Like for me, sometimes now that products and people's product lines are so popular, there's a part of me that wanted to stop making stuff because I was like, damn, everybody got a goddamn. But that actually, reading testimonials and saying this is something that I've done for 15 years now, I don't want to hang it up. I want to get better and refine my process more. Not everybody has time, or sometimes people are famous enough to not have to actually make things. So they can travel the world, they can still, do all these things because they're not in a space creating products every day. They have a scientist or a chemist doing these things for them, and they're just there to smell and to taste, to touch and put their little name on it and keep it moving. I've never had the luxury, and this is not to say I want to be, no. I actually got one or two offers in my past to like go bigger, but there wouldn't have been fresh rosemary in the Rosemary's Baby shampoo or the Rosemary's Baby oil. And there wouldn't have been fresh, bay leaf and thyme in the vetiver bay. There wouldn't have been fresh, like Tiger Stripes has, it has the rose, but it also has, helichrysum in it and calendula buds and, rose. And a lot of people don't use organic stuff. So I really wanted to stay true in knowing, okay, my grapefruit chamomile. Why chamomile with grapefruit? Because one is acidic, and then you want to have something that's pH friendly and really balances the acid of the grapefruit. It's the same thing with like an anise toner, knowing that anise seeds are really amazing for the skin, or like pumpkin seed butter and avocado butter are really great, but not outsourcing it means that you have to figure out how to blend these things into your own concoctions, into your own butters. And because I don't like using shea butter, and that's not now people that did, I started off with shea butter 20 years ago with stuff. But
why not? When
you're making stuff, for me, what I've noticed is that it cakes more. And a lot of people use safflower oil and soy oil, which aren't in any of my products. So those oils are high in oleic acids in a sense. So it can, I hate to say it, but they're not supposed to be used on your skin. You're not supposed to put soy oil on your skin. The same way you're not supposed to consume certain soy products, because it'll increase your estrogen. If you have a son, you want to be aware of their testosterone levels. And for me as well, estrogen is great, but you can get estrogen flush foods without eating like all those fake meat products. And you go through, as a vegetarian, as a whatever vegan, sometimes you'll go through the fake hot dogs and the fake bacon. I don't really eat soy like that, or like wheat gluten like that. I did 20 years ago, but then you start reading about stuff and you're like, wow, let me chill a little with the soy and see if I can get off of the soy and the fake burgers and make your own, vegetarian burgers, whether they be with chickpeas and, nutritional yeast and quinoa flour. Whatever it is you're doing, you can do stuff in a more refined way, almost like kind of like a raw foodist, but with a little bit more cooked ingredients. Because I thought about it. I would have loved to stay raw, but thinking about procreating and having a child, I was like, people are amazed that you don't have to eat meat and dairy when you're breastfeeding. But I was never anemic. I never ate any meat during breastfeeding. I didn't test that out and have some chicken. I've been meat free for 25, 27 years now, and grateful that I haven't suffered from anemia or from other things where you feel like you got to have. I always say, if you're eating enough greens, if you're taking in enough kale, if you're taking in enough, green juice, a lot of beet juice. I drink beet juice every week. Just doing your beet juice, whether it be wheatgrass or whatever it is you enjoy doing. Try to throw some greens and have your little natural spinach salads. So for me, when it came to products, I really just looked back to this herbal book and just really thought of certain herbs that I didn't find in products. And that's something that I feel, even to this day, I might meet somebody that may use a little turmeric in something, or, a little lavender, but hats off to those that have incorporated herbs. But for myself, to have a wide experience with knowing how to make stuff for a variety of different skin needs and keep it pH friendly and have like organic gel-based soaps, over 35 of them, meaning like just thinking of the Zodiac and having that Zodiac line, trying to think of ways to make my products, unique. And this is something that I've done, not to say that no one else can, but when you create your own lane, it's nice to stay in it and to say, well, regardless if you see people recreating, it's never going to be like that. That's why I don't need social media, because there's a part of me that has put so much time. And really, I was not successful overnight. It took 10 plus years to get to a space where I could be like, okay, now I can save a little and expand the line, which is, 2 years in, I switched from using all shea butter in all my products to not using any, because it's harder to blend. There's different outsourcing of shea butter now is almost like such a widely used butter. You got to
Yeah.
think of it. It's the same thing as like people eat an oxtail. It's like, what is oxtail? You're getting all these oxen. What is it? Where does it come from?
Yeah.
So thinking about, like, wow, shea butter is great. But once I got my hands and figured out what pumpkin seed butter, what avocado butter, what turmeric butter, and knowing that I can make my own calendula butter, which has more calendula in it than outsourcing calendula butter or making my own coffee butter. It took years, but once I got into the flow of it, it became really second nature. Like, okay, this is how much I use in the coffee. This is how much,
Mm.
and to just eliminate soy and safflower oil. I always find it interesting that companies that are $1 million, $1 billion people, names attached to them, they're using soy and safflower and water and alcohol and peg 40 and so many. Sometimes like they'll list their major ingredients, but then there's like other active ingredients that
Right.
aren't on people's websites. You got to kind of look for it. Thank God, they do have to still list certain stuff that is marketed and major branded, but all major brands in every store has chemicals that really are not good long term, or use perfume and fragrances, which sometimes gives their line a unique scent or a unique smell. But there is nothing called like autumn rain.
Right.
There's no, you don't want to use fragrances because unfortunately, even like using those Glade misters or the things that make your house smell good, or even candles, are made with so many fragrances, and fragrances are the number one way that you're going to have carcinogens attach themselves to your lungs and have toxic energy in your environment. And then you're like, okay, how far am I going to take this? It's like, knowing cooking with those non-stick pans.
Mhm.
I had to change all of that. Like, okay, these are cute to get, but I only want to cook with glass and with, cast iron and with no non-stick anything, because if I can make these small decisions, these small choices that can affect and help me long term, why not do that? And most of the time it's just based out of convenience or wanting to support someone that's famous and popular and thing like that. But all popular brands right now, I'm so grateful that I started before so that people could kind of get their hands on stuff and feel the difference. I've had so many people say, look, I tried so and so. I wanted to try this person's products and I had to put it down and come back to yours because, it was cute for like 2 weeks, but then my scalp started itching, my hair. Alcohol and like gel-based products that are made with alcohol and witch hazel, alcoholic witch hazel, or like the pegs and the parabucillins and the cellulose and the there's so much garbage. I can literally pull it up on my phone. Just one brand that's like popping in the stores, in Sephora. But if you look at the active ingredients, the number one is water. Then you have alcohol. Then you have safflower oil. Then you have soy oil. These things are so horrible for our skin long term that I don't know how else other than to say, rather than downing anyone else or talking about another business or another, black owned whatever, just stay true to your process and try to lead through example where you're offering people solutions to something that they might have gotten very used to using, but it's not good for their family, their children, or for them. So to read testimonials about people's eczema being healed or psoriasis being healed, or like even babies, like my baby's skin is so like I only use your products for like a week and I felt and saw that's the things that keep me going and are like, regardless of how many people, and everybody got a product line now. So no
Right.
matter how many people are getting their hands involved, they're really not. Somebody else is making this stuff. It's coming from China. That all of the popular fragrant ones, they have so many perfumes. And the reason why I don't use mica powders and I don't use all these things, I could go into such detail, but it just ends up sounding like you just bombarding people with certain truths that unless you research them for your own, benefit, they're just so bad for you. But you know, people like stuff that looks glittery and shiny. It's like you can have stuff that shines without having to put mica powders in them, or so many additives and preservatives that aren't parabens but
Mhm.
are chemicals still. And you're going to feel the difference in something that has a chemical in it and
Mm.
something that doesn't. But it's not until you use something that doesn't that you can make the comparison and go, wow, even though I like this person's products because it made my hair curly or whatever, what was making it curl was the alcohol levels in it,
Ah,
and the peg 40s and the peg 10s and all of these chemicals that are really bad for your uterus, horrible for your fallopian tube. This is why so many women, even after starting their natural hair journeys, can still suffer from fibroids and stuff of that nature, because they're using so many products that have all of these things in it. But the people that get pushed to have these things in them are all the famous favorites. And I
mm,
think sometimes maybe it's because it's a greater way of inundating the populace with these things. They know that people that love this person's music is also going to buy their products,
right.
or loves this person's personality on YouTube are going to buy their products. None of them are making things by him because they have to still be celebrities on YouTube, or
Mhm.
in their podcast world. You can't be on podcasts traveling the world, and having your hands in making whatever it is you're supplying people with. There has to be a choice, and not to say you have to live a boring life, but this is part of why I moved to an environment that I could run 4 miles on the beach
Yes.
5 days a week, because I knew I'm not going to be able to travel and take time off. Once you start something, if you want to see it grow, you have to stay consistent in it. And that's been my, just the way that I've found certain consistency and stuff, and grateful enough to say, okay, you want some hair advice? Start
Mm.
off with this, that, and the third. If you don't like anything too medicinal, because yes, rosemary works. Yes, black castor oil works, cumin seed oil works. All these things work, but sometimes you don't want to smell. You want something more fragrant. So then I thought of ways to make lines of products for your hair that would
Mm.
smell like, jasmine, tiara flower, and manoi butters and things of that nature, because they smell really euphoric, but they're not perfume based. Or how to just put essential oils in everything. Yes, it's more expensive than perfumes and fragrances, but I'd rather fragrance something with essential oils than put, excuse me, perfumes. I was going to hiccup, perfumes or anything like that in your products. So, trusting my own hand in stuff has given me solace in knowing, all right, people feel and see the difference now. And it's up to myself to consistently create more. And yes, I would love to branch and have a larger warehouse and do all of that, but not at the not at the price of my products, meaning that I don't want to take certain herbs out of it, or
Mhm.
make, 1,000 of these size and just having them sit on the shelf, when you can kind of make things to order. So when people order is when I know what size to make, rather than, I have certain washes pre-made because they can last in these, in these stainless steel jugs now, but I still don't bottle them and label them until they're ordered. So for me, I'm very grateful to just take more time. And I realize that's what it is. People don't have the time to put rosemary stalks and everything, or to put, fresh lavender and, stuff. Or like I have a product called OG, it's onion and garlic, and how
Mm.
to make garlic oil and infuse onion in your products with cloves to make it smell really good, so you don't smell the garlic. You ain't walking around smelling like a vampire killer. But at the same token, you're like, oh snap, cloves with, Rubio's tea and a little bit of onion skin, like not the literally the skin of the onion. When you
Wow.
boil these things together, they can eliminate gray hairs. So it's not to say I dye my hair, but
Mm.
spraying my hair with, these things that
It's just
allow for buoyancy or allow for my curls to come through. It's not that I started a bang, I just stopped wrapping my hair into existing locks because the sides of it started growing so much. I realized that it was a little like that's where I was most tender headed. And I was like, it might be from the length of my hair, now that they're calf level. I don't like wrapping my new growth because it pulls too much. And I never wanted my scalp to be seen. I never wanted to compromise the quality of my roots by constantly wrapping and twisting and doing all that. So, sometimes people see my hair, like, oh my God, what I would do to get my hands on your hair. And it's like, well, grow your own hair. I don't want nobody in my locks pulling and ripping. They have these things called wick locks now that make your locks thick. But you gotta throw a needle in that and you gotta pull, and it ends up thinning out the roots of your hair over time, because nothing with that much weight, unless your hair is made of Teflon, like nothing, you're still going to have some pulling. And I've noticed that my hair has not thinned in its crown, and it's simply because I've used certain products that have stimulated so much new growth that I'm not constantly wrapping. Now I can just take care of the consistency of my curls and still have locks by starting them off so small, the little curls coming through. But now they're like, okay, wow. Are like, unless I trim this, that it grows so much that I'm grateful. But at the same token, it's a way to have a unique style that's just yours. And sometimes, I don't want to grow locks because they're boring. I can tie my lock. I can do so much with my hair, but also choosing to keep it down, because when I do have it up in a ponytail is when I start to feel the weight of it a little bit. So, just being at ease and you don't ever want to feel like you got to do things the way other people are doing them to find your own peace and joy. And it's the same with, products. I can go through if anyone has questions.
Yes. Before you go into your products, can we take a moment to just look at your glory? You're beautiful, shiny.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Long lot.
You too.
You practice what you preach.
Thank you. But, it's also to say that, yes, I'm grateful that I can use everything that I make on my skin and in my hair. And that was a big jump for me as well. Like sometimes, I'm about to start this product. I'm going to come out with the product, but I literally spray my hair with it. And then I spray my throat and my mouth because you can drink it. It's that good for you. But it's just to say that, it's, your little cloves, a little bit of echinacea, I don't
show us your hair. Show us your hair, if you don't mind.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, let me see if I can move this chair back. But my hair is literally, it's like, it's long. It is long, but it goes down like consistently now. It's to my calves. It reaches my calves, but I just said I don't want them to go longer than my ankle, because when I jog on the beach, I have to put my hair in a book bag so that it doesn't drag on the floor or pick up sand, because as I'm running, my heels kick up some sand. So I noticed a while ago, like, oh, my hair is getting sand. So, figuring out how to get the sand out of my hair. And then now I literally have to put my locks in a book bag and then put the book bag on, and then I'll jog because it's so long now. I'm very grateful. But I also, did trim the ends a couple years ago just to keep them the same length. But my hair grows at different lengths. The back of it grows longer than the sides. The sides are definitely like almost to my calves, but the back of my hair is like definitely right past my calves now. So I'm grateful for all that, but it's more so the healthiness of it. I don't think that I would have stuck with it this long if I found it to not be as healthy. My hair, I'm grateful, is healthy, but again, I only use what I make in it, from the shampoo, like the apple cider shampoo.
I want to bring up your website 1 minute.
Of course. And if people have questions, just tell me what they are and I'll stop and jump in.
Okay.
But like, I have a whole product line of, like, let's say there's an apple cider, it's called Aqua. And then I have blue rice shampoo, which kind of goes with this, which is a blue rice hairspray. And I have a cherry curl juice, which has got like grapefruit in it, but it also has cherry oil in it, which is really good for like curls and maintaining your curls. And again, if you want to like texturize, sometimes I want to, I have blow dried the front of my hair because I have a little blow dryer but seeing like the different sounds, like, oh, I could drop curl this if I want. But I do try to keep my hair away from certain heat. So that's another thing. But like the Hair Magic is a really, really good hair pomade. It's very thick with, black castor oil and I say black castor oil, but it's got like what you call it? I gotta look at it. Oh my gosh. What's the thing called that you drink? Black seed oil. I'm sorry, black seed. I have so many ingredients in my head. Sometimes I gotta slow down. But black seed oil that you'll drink to be healthy is what I put in my hair products. A lot of it. Hemp oil I use a lot. I also make my own flaxseed oil, which goes into all of my hair products. But the blue rice hair pudding has really great rice water in it. And it's not really water because I use aloe to replace all the water. So, but to spray it, you got to make your aloe into an aloe juice. So I have bought certain organic aloe juices and I've used, but I've noticed that pulping my own aloe creates a little bit of a thickness to give it that like sticky consistency so that when you do spray your hair, it doesn't get stuck in the hose, but it also, it gives your hair definition and some curl and some volume. So I've liked that a lot. But even for people that have straight hair, it's really great for blowouts, for doobies, for braids.
What about Caucasian? Love Hugs wants to know, does your product work well for Caucasian people, or is it best for people of your heritage?
Oh, I have so many. What I didn't hear. Can you say the question again? I think I know what you said, but I didn't hear you.
Okay.
Different ethnicities.
Yes. Does it work for Caucasian people?
I did hear that right. Yes, I have a lot of Asians, a lot of Caucasians that come through, and they literally will be like, I'm Caucasian. They'll tell me their whole story. I'm looking for so and so, and I'm saying, okay, try this sprays because they have a little less oil in them. But some people are suffering from hair loss. Even white folks suffer from thinning hair. So certain products work universally. You don't have to have melanin. It's just being a melanated person. I really did make stuff thinking about, how to keep our hair, our skin, still have a sunscreen on during the day, but not have all the chemicals that come with certain sunscreens. Even the natural sunscreens come with certain chemicals in them that are actually cancer causing. So, knowing that like, wow, if you blend like macadamia butter with jojoba butter, pumpkin butter, avocado butter, and argan oil, you can make and palm oil as well. You can make your own sunscreen and it be like amazing to sit in the sun with, where you're still getting protection, but you're not stopping your melanin from being produced. A lot of products, especially nowadays, they have like certain chemical peel products or like a certain Korean craze. A lot of those products are there to stop melanin production. And they're called like, oh, we'll fix your hyperpigmentation and they'll brighten your skin. But what it does as well is it strips away your own natural melanin production. And you don't want to do lightening anything because vitamin D is very important. Even the other day, I get my blood work done every year. And the doctor always is like, oh, you're vitamin D deficient. And I'm like, I'm laughing but a seer tells me. And then I read something, forgot what I read it in. I'll tell you in a second if I ask the seer because he's photogenic with this stuff. But when you have darker skin like myself, you tend to produce less vitamin D in the sun. It's almost as though your skin is a natural vitamin D agent. The things that are out there to test your actual vitamin D don't work for our skin. It only works for people that don't have natural vitamin D in their skin. So for myself, like I definitely put on sometimes a white sweatshirt when I jog, just so I'm not taking in so much sun, because I could sit in the sun out here for 10 minutes and every day get darker, and I don't sit on an umbrella. So I now, because I'm getting older, I do time myself. I make sure that I don't sit in the sun for more than an hour, and I'm heavily saturated with all the oils and, aloes, because I get little, my little freckles on my face that, thank God they're not raised, so I don't have to worry about them being but I do get my little freckles, and I didn't want them to change into serious sunspots. But just
Right.
thinking about my own skin and knowing, like, right now I have an extreme tan, but most people, oh, you're just a black girl. Like, yes, I am, but I'm the darkest one in my family, so I'm very grateful for my melanin. But in being aware of how I look in New York, like, let's say, sometimes people say, what did you do? You used to bleach your skin? It's like, no, I just lived in Syracuse and in the cold. So my skin was much lighter than it is now that I'm in the sun every day. So, to be aware of stuff like that, but also to create things that aren't going to strip our natural melanin or block our melanin from being able to grow, because your melanin with the pituitary gland, it does have the nature to expand. You can expand your melanin production without necessarily getting darker per se, and a lot of people don't know that or don't understand that concept. But you can, now I'm taking my little, I do take vitamin D drops along with my magnesium drops. And I do feel a difference when it comes to like jogging. I can jog for a little longer without feeling certain knee glitches. And these are for people that have had surgery and knee stuff. But I also do yoga like 3-4 days out the week. Or like, let's say Monday I jogged and Tuesday I do yoga and just use resistance bands. So I'm not singing all the time, but crazily enough, the beach, the sand is really amazing for your knees, or jogging backwards. I do my backwards jog for like 2 miles, and it strengthens parts of my knees that I really am grateful I discovered. It's just given me some longevity. I've had diagnosed with arthritis and all these issues, so I'm really challenged myself to live with these things. And now I don't even feel like I have certain arthritic conditions. I just sometimes go, well, I'm just sore from putting in a good workout. But, definitely being aware of that. And also like thinking of different products, like even stuff that I would say like the physical therapy. Funny enough, I still sell that. A lot of people ask me about that product because PayPal started hating on products that had THC in them, THC oil in them, or cannabis oil in them. So I became mindful. I had to take that off of the website because they're like, unless it's off the website, we're not going to allow you to, be on PayPal. But I have made physical therapy still for people privately. I don't have it on my website, but Ether is another product that's just like kind of like a natural Vicks for your chest. But I sometimes use Ether all over my body because it has so much, marjoram in it, and it has a lot of nettle in it, and just really good for your joints. The same thing with the pineapple turmeric alchemy. I use that almost every day, every morning on my face, because the turmeric is so good for, like, let's say you did have certain scars or certain skin whatevers. You'll find that you have no pimple scars, no anything if you suffered from that in your past. And, I'm grateful that I don't have adult acne or anything like that. But I think a lot of that also just is based on drinking a lot of coconut water. I do coconut and sugar cane in the coconut water sometimes. And also just juicing. Juicing a lot has really helped, I think, just in my personal aging process, where I still can feel flushed. I still got a nice round fit, Sometimes when I've lost certain weight, having my cheekbones show and stuff, but I didn't want my skin to drag. Now that I've put on certain weight, I'm very grateful that, very grateful that I don't have certain things that a lot of people complain about, but mostly those complaints are just coming from things that are stripping their skin over time, or they're using certain face masks that actually are stripping their dermis. So they don't have the protective barrier. It's kind of like, this thing that a lot of people are, it starts with the C, collagen. Collagen in their skin. Collagen really comes from also from your diet. So if you're eating a lot of avocados, and potassium base stuff like bananas. A lot of people sometimes cut these things out of their diet, or oatmeal. Oatmeal has a lot of collagen in it for your skin. Making oatmeal masks with just a little, pure avocado. Unfortunately, I can't sell stuff like that because it will spoil unless you refrigerate it. And I don't even like giving it like the 2-3 days it sometimes gets to mail. I don't want anything to be, rank or start to decompose, start to smell bad. So I don't do, but personally, I do blend just an avocado, throw a little bit of oats in there, make your own calming masks if you come out of the sun, make your own aloe masks. You can use your own turmeric root, juice your own turmeric root with that. And
let me ask you a quick question, sis.
Mm-hmm.
Can people call you for a consultation or pay you for consultation?
Yes, you can. I don't sometimes charge people if they just ask me questions via email. It might take me like 3 to 5 days to email them back with something really detailed. But I've even tried to be like, if people have questions, I'm going to answer them. Like Asir has a lecture coming up in Atlanta, and everybody's like, oh, are you going to vent? Are you going to vent? No, because I don't even want to ship my products on the plane. I don't even want to do all that work for the 2 days. I'm going to keep it honest. Yeah. I want to meet people, and it's going to be like my first 2 days, 3 days going somewhere off in about 8 years. I haven't really traveled like that. So I just want to enjoy his event. I'm going to go to Atlanta, but I am going to do consultations there for free. If you see me and you have questions, I answer whatever you need to ask. I don't need to charge anyone for just imparting or trying to help someone with the question they may have. But most questions I do get, it's like, what do I use on my face and what do I use on my hair to start with? They sometimes feel overwhelmed. One thing about the website is no matter what you choose, you're going to see a difference and feel a difference in your hair and on your skin in like 3 to 5 days. You are. So you can't make a wrong choice. Whatever your spirit calls for is what I would say rock with. But the reason why I created a lot was because I am not a famous person with, I'm not known like the way that a lot of celebrities are known. So instead of relying on like 8 to 10 products, I wanted to create a vast amount of choices just so I wouldn't have to charge $85 for like the Foy, the Fountain of Youth. And funny enough, a lot of companies have stuff called Fountain of Youth or Do My Daily Enriching Witch Hazel. I started like 15 years ago. And to see people with products called Do, or even Sunkiss. I named Sunkiss because it literally smelled like these starbursts, the orange starbursts and Sunkiss. Yeah. But I didn't think that was going to become a famous name, or even Fountain of Youth. It's like a famous name for a company now. But I'm grateful because there's something that we're doing is working. And people are finding, okay, I'm going to take that name and make it my own. It can, in the beginning, it was a little like, oh my God, that's my creative time. But you start to free up from stuff like that and are just like, let me make more. Let me challenge myself more. Don't get annoyed with what you see someone else try to recreate or do at all. Just stick to the people that are consistently good to you. But I didn't want to charge a whole lot for 2 ounces. Some companies I've seen charge like $100 for a little 2-ounce bottle, but they're like, oh, it's all argon. And yeah, that's what mine has in it too. You can make things affordable for people, but still put the best of ingredients in them. You don't have to charge $100. You do if you only have 3 or 4 products to sell. But this is why I'm like, let me challenge myself and make more, because I'm not going to just have a product line with just 8 hair products and that be it, or just 7 or 8 face products. I want to make a variety so that I can expand my way of being able to bring in and save money, but also so that I can offer people a variety of different options. And why? Because you don't really run out of creative ideas if you're thinking of ways to incorporate herbs and health stuff in your products, again, without, I'm very much a metaphysician, but I also want to appeal to people that might not have heard of a Zodiac line or.
Yes, hold on one second.
I remember when I started, I didn't believe and know about all these herbs and helichrysum and marjoram. Sometimes like, look, girl, just give me something that can work. And I get that as well. But it's like, nah, I can sell, to the masses, but still throw in all of the good junk, all of the good
Tell
stuff.
us tell us about the Zodiac line. Somebody said, I love that you had a Zodiac line. She never
Thank
said
you. Thank
it.
you so much. The Zodiac line, when you start reading about stuff, you're like, wow, there's an herb for every sign. There is. And for me, I was like, there's an herb for every sign. That must mean that I can create, like, let's say I create 12 skin products, let's say butters, but then I create 12 washes to go along with the butters. So that if you're in the shower, you can use a Taurus wash, but then when you get out the shower, you can use a Taurus body butter, and making them interchangeable. So a lot of people sometimes do like ginger or whatever, or lavender. I felt dumb because I was like, damn, I should have named our products. But I wanted to call them the Zodiac line and then have the herbs featured under each Zodiac. So Taurus, for instance, Taurus rules the neck. What's great for the neck? Ginger. What works for like hoarseness or bronchitis? Your ginger, your lime. So Taurus is made with ginger and, lime oil, or like the Aries products. What's great for Aries? Oh, Aries is great with hibiscus oil. Hibiscus oil is really good for like your hair, but also it rules the crown chakra. So what else rules the crown chakra? Okay, you want something to alleviate. So you think of, lang lang or the orange and mandarin. So I really married each herb to each sign, and then created a body product, whether it be the body lotion for each sign, and then created, after that, I went through what wash would go with each sign. So Virgo, for instance, is an earth sign. So it's very good having earth-based herbs in that product specifically. So you'll have like your coffee, but then you also have sandalwood, and you'll also have saffron oil, and you'll also, same thing, saffron is really good for Leos, rules the heart. So you think about all these things, what's good for the heart. Okay, marjoram, so I just went through each sign. Once I had the money to invest in expanding, I went through each sign, and every month last year or the year before, because it's been 2 years, the year before, when it was March, you're coming out with the Aries Pisces line. When it's August, you're coming out with the Leo line.
Love it.
So that really was a commitment, because I had to think of the labels. I create all my own labels. I create everything from the Rudy to the Tootie, because you want to be able to make sure you don't miss an ingredient on your label. God forbid, somebody said to me one day, they were like, I took your product to a lab, and they busted everything down, and it was like, your product is actually 99% pH friendly, like you said, and it does have all the ingredients in it. And I'm like, imagine if I put some bullshit in this goddamn product. Now this person taking it to a lab, and now my stuff was coming up funky. I said, thank God. This is exactly why, honesty goes a long way.
That's
And
right.
you don't
Integrity.
ever want, I always say, if you don't know, don't act like you do. So for me, it's still a learning process, because I really don't use things that I haven't used on my own body, that I haven't tested for a while. Same thing with this hairspray that I spray in my throat. I'm doing it for at least 6 to 8 months before I'm gonna put it out, just to see the long-term effects, to feel it. But also, let your son use it. Let your husband be the guinea pig. Use it with people that you know. But because there's nothing that's non-organic in it, I started to be like, wow, this is great. Like, let's say you have some swollen gums or stink breath, or have some issues with dentistry. The clove oil in it goes so well with the Rubio's tea, and so for me, I don't do coffee, but the dentist the other day, he was like, have you been drinking coffee? I said, no. What you're seeing, and they're not that same. Some, oh, your teeth are so white. But the dentist will always be like, oh, I see little, you're seeing turmeric root. Turmeric is hard. I'll drink my turmeric shots through a straw. But because turmeric is so stainy, I always think about the chaser. Like, okay, now that was last year. This year, the dentist is like, your teeth, they're not stained. And I'm like, because I've been going ham with, you know, my little baking soda, you know, hydrogen peroxide, just really trying to take my natural little stains away. Little stuff like that. But, you know, you also got to say, I said to him, well, I also got to remain healthy. And I really like the way that the turmeric and the ginger root makes me feel. So I got to drink this shit. And same thing with chlorophyll. I got to drink it. So if I have little stains in the back of my teeth, so be it. I'd rather the stains than have a whole mouth of veneers. You know, so you start to pick your battles when you get a little, and age with grace. I'm not trying to not get gray hair, but if I can prevent them from all graying, then I'm going to go ahead and spray this onion peel with the cloves and the rubios, and I'm going to spray this in my hair every day and see how it works. And then, you know, putting a little ginger root in there. I'm like, oh, I can put this in my mouth. So gargling or spraying my mouth with the same thing I spray my hair with, I'm about to come out with that because why not? It's been working for me for a while. So things like that expands the blue rice hairspray, the cherry spray line. And then like, so this is the hair magic. This is the lemonade. The lemonade, you can find all these on the website. The lemonade is an all-time seller. I have maybe 8 bottles of lemonade back here. And I didn't mail things out today knowing that I was going to be on the show tonight. I said, just keep some of the damn thing. Stuff. But the pit stops, I didn't think that a body deodorant was going to go as popular. But now there's major brands that are doing, you know, rub this body deodorant on your feet and on your leg. And I'm like, wow, we came out with pit stops because I wanted to find and have a deodorant that I could use under my arms, but also use on my feet.
Yeah.
Also use on the back. You know, sometimes I put a little in between my legs, you know, when I'm jumping, just so that I can smell it when I'm running. But what's great is it's got, you know, the arrowroot powder in it, a little bit of baking soda, knowing not to use a lot so it doesn't become too grainy. Down grains.
Sister, you know, so you have something for feminine hygiene as well?
Yes, it's called Marmalade. I have Marmalade for women. It's a, you'll see it on the website. It's a body oil, as well as a feminine wash. And then Son of Man is out as well. I'm gonna put that on Instagram this week. I swear, I promise after this show I'm gonna do that. And thank you for the platform on Instagram. But
where are you on Instagram? What's your name on Instagram?
It's Celina Cordoba L, and then when you type in CELINA CORDOBAEL, you'll see my major page come up. But then on that page, there's a link to Cordoba Organics. And the only reason why I haven't been going ham on it is because I used to everyday post, like 2-3 years ago. I mean, I was posting so much and I was like, oh my God, this is a job within itself. And then when the business started to grow, thankfully, doing shows like this, every platform outside of my own expands way more because you reach people that don't just know you. You reach people that you know. And that's for you, you know, Dr. G and Brother Rich. Whenever I did his show, I was like busy for the month. Like my orders were through the roof. And I'm grateful because I can't attract that type of attention on my platform itself. The reason why I think my Instagram page grew was because I was doing so much yoga like 8-10 years ago. And I still do these things every day. But doing the yoga, posting about yoga and how it heals, especially when you have gone through open knee surgery on both your knees. And then, you know, having products like Halt. Halt is going crazy right now because it's summertime, but a natural insect repellent with cedar wood, lemongrass, cinnamon oil, and citronella. It's so good. I'll put this on, and I like running with my bare feet, but sometimes there's little, you know, flies in the sand and all. So to not get bit anywhere, not to have any bites, when I wasn't using it at all, I would always come back with the insect bite on my face or on my body. They're safe enough to put on your face. You know, I think that I wanted everything to be interchangeable. I did want. And that's why even if you're not like a Taurus or you're not a Capricorn, why are those products great for you? Because the Capricorn is so good because it alleviates a lot of stress. Capricorns are ruled by the shoulders, but also holding a lot of weight on your shoulders, just thinking about that. Vetiver oil is used in the Capricorn, along with bergamot, along with frankincense. So it's really great, along with a little lime oil to brighten up those heavier scents. So it's really great for people that are Capricorns, but also for people like myself who have a Capricorn moon, who, you know, what does that mean? So even if you don't believe in astrology, I always say to myself, there is a little science behind all these things, whether we cater and submit to the science behind it. It's still to say that these are things that I do believe personally in. I don't write people off based on their sign. Sometimes people immediately go, oh, that's a cat. I can't stand Cancer. Oh, you're a Virgo. I'm like, every Virgo and Cancer is different. You don't know who people, you're not your sign. You know, yes, there's certain things about the signs that are going to be there, but you can graduate from so much. That's true. I don't want to not like anybody based on their zodiac. That's so cringe. Like, that's so weird to me. Like, oh, because you're a Sagittarius, there's signs that I know don't like me off the bat. But I'm like, it must have been somebody they met that was like, I've met a Virgo too that I'm like, oh my God. But, you know, I'm not like that with myself because I'm myself, and there's things about me that I've learned. You know, the way you clean your kitchen, don't judge other people that might not do it the same way. They find their, you know, don't judge people that can't eat on their bathroom floors. Like, there's two parts of my house that are always anally clean, and that's the kitchen and the bathroom. Other than that, you know, I have an Aries husband who's, I say, the internal Virgo because he's so neat now. But, you know, he wasn't always like that. He had his little comics everywhere. Now there's order everywhere that sometimes he can make me feel like, oh my God, I didn't put my... So I laugh because you're not your size. So sometimes I even laugh at that when people are like, oh, can I order something that's not my zodiac? Hell yeah. Try something that's not your sign. I love, you know, the Aries products because it's got Lang Lang and Mandarin. But I also really like the Capricorn products because I'm the type that will think myself to sleep. So I notice when I use the Capricorn or the vetiver oil like this, it's really great to keep, you know, you calm and allow you to sleep soundly. And somebody just wrote me about that. Like, my teenage daughter loves it because she can sleep through the night. And I'm like, oh, she felt that. But things like that make me happy because this is the Aries wash. It's really dope because it's got so much little goodness in it. And I love me some Aries individuals. I attract a lot of Aries in my life. Just Aries, Aries, Aries. It's so weird. But even Capricorns, Gemini. The Gemini line is great. It's got a lot of lavender in it. It's got a lot of lemon oil in the Gemini line. But even this is the mocha amaretto. I wanted something that was going to be like mocha, smelling like coffee, chocolate, but didn't have those fragrances in it. So I was able to come up with this line, which was really dope. Just using amaretto oil and almond oil, like literally so yummy and good. I'm also I used to be addicted to Dr. Bronner's almond wash because of the smell of it. But, I didn't want to use Castile on my skin anymore. So coming up with a non-Castile body wash that's just basically, olive oil, olive pomace, aloe, just all natural ingredients, calendula, olive oils in it. So soft and soothing, but again, to have something that foams and creates instant bubbles. Sometimes I don't like certain gel washes because you got to use a lot in your washcloth. You don't have to do that with any of the body washes that I make. Very grateful and thankful to have figured out how to make them so foamy and wonderful. But the blue rice hair pudding along with the goji guru are great for your scalp and great for your hair as well. And also just, not like demonizing or downing people that might not have found that natural journey or the vegetarian journey. Like, we all go through our own stuff and have our own little battles to fight. But, just giving you options of different things that work and saying, okay, not many people are going to be able to juice and do all that. So how to create beets and roses, which is just basically a beet face wash that really helps with like the flushness and the flora in your skin. And also that, collagen production, how to produce collagen.
Oh, collagen.
And then us, I hate to say it, but all people of color and even people that are Caucasian, you do not need to use chemical peels. They're the worst for your skin. A lot of people use them because it will take away the first layer, but it's so much more difficult to build your dermis back up than it is to maintain it. You can naturally exfoliate by using, I have a couple. Aura is a product that I have. It's really great because it has a lot of Moroccan red clay in it, but also just saffron and like sandalwood. It's a great exfoliant. And then I blend oats, like organic oatmeal. You blend that up into a fine powder. You can use that on your skin as well. It's got that in it as well. Really dope. Or like the turmeric pineapple. Why I like turmeric on my skin so much, because it still keeps it kind of bright, has your different tones of brown, but again, not minimizing your melanin production or your melasomes or all those other things. And then the Vaselina, why I like that so much, as well as like the I have a product, Vaselina. Oh, the blue what is it called? the blue oh, blue pudding. Blue pudding. It's basically like Vaseline. Vaselina, it's the texture of Vaseline without petroleum. So you're able to like slick down your hair and do all your little, people have their baby hairs that they really want to make slick and fine. You can still do that, but not have all the other garbage that goes in it. You want to stay away from those, I hate to say it, those products that we used to use with the powder. And, it starts with the J&J. I'm not going to call their name out, but you don't want to use any of those products. Those, powders are horrible for you. But, using like arrowroot with a little baking soda and some, like the apple cider wash for the feminine washes. I didn't want to put peppermint oil down there all the time because it's a little drying. So wild yam oil. What's wild yam oil? Wild yam oil is excellent for people that are going through menopause. Or if you're not going through menopause, it still just keeps you a little moist down there and allows your moisture to be natural instead of having to shove suppositories up your hoo-ha, up your, you don't want to do that, because not everybody, over time, it's going to make your lover, your male, if you are with a man, it's going to make them sterile, but you're also just depreciating yourself of all the natural juices in your own vagina. That's why you think you feel wet, but you're going to suffer from extreme dryness in about a month or two, because you're using these boric acid suppositories that actually eliminate all the natural juice in your body, all the natural lubricant in your body. So staying away from things like that, and then doing research and going, wow, wild yam oil, but also cinnamon oil. Cinnamon is great for your vagina if you want to keep yourself a little bit fresh. You don't use it without diluting it, of course, which is why I make what I make, but you want to dilute a little bit of cinnamon oil. You can even make your own spray with aloe vera and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. And if you suffer from, sometimes people are allergic to fish and shouldn't eat certain foods because you will, it's like they have a natural scent that's just what is going on. And it wasn't until I met this girl who used to take a yoga class, and she smelled so foul. And I approached her about it one day, and I was like, she's like, well, I have this thing. I was like 17 when I discovered that some people just have a smell, but you can eliminate that. You can change your diet. You don't need to be eating flesh infused foods. You got to stay off of the pork. You can't eat, certain people can't eat tuna fish and sardines. Like, you're just allergic to certain stuff. Know what your body is reacting to, and you can eliminate stuff. But some people do have a stronger body odor. I'm grateful that I don't eat certain foods that I've ever suffered from those things, but being empathetic to those that have, and saying, okay, well, I want to make a body wash for women, but I don't want it to be so extreme that it's going to cause us to sting or your pH to be thrown off. I might not have any issues, but some women do. So I might use a body wash like right after my cycle, and some women might need to use it every day. I like feeling a little extra fresh after my cycle is over. So I'll use it in the shower for those 2 or 3 days. But, I don't need to use it like that, thankfully, because I'm doing other things and have a lifestyle where I don't have those issues. And also being honest with myself and saying, this is why I have a self waxer. I wax myself every month so I don't have hair, because I notice that hair produces more sweat and I don't like sweating profusely, and I like keeping myself a little. So everybody's different. Not every woman wants to shave. Not every woman wants to wax their vaginas. You can leave a nice little strip there, but I like waxing because I'm always on the beach. So I like, I know that I have some hair. I don't like hair, so I make sure I get rid of it every month. And I used to go to someone's like, you wax yourself? I've been doing it for so many years. Yes, it doesn't bother me to wax myself. It doesn't hurt me. But I've been waxing for so many years now that even, I'll share this with people. The one thing that I did pay for was laser hair removal on my chin after I breastfed. I didn't have a lot of chin hair, maybe 4 or 5 strands, but they were thick and I didn't like them. And I was like, as soon as I could afford, I got laser hair removal on my chin a couple years ago, and it has not grown back. It was the best investment because these are the things that bothered me. And I didn't want to have chin hair. I didn't have a mustache, thankfully enough. But some women might have. I noticed after I breastfed, I started getting little. I was like, what the hell? I didn't even pluck nothing. I just went and got them laser removed. You have what's called a YAG laser for those of us that are heavier melanated.
Okay.
I only had to go to a couple sessions, like 6 sessions throughout the year, and that hair has never come back. That is the one thing. So then I was like, oh, maybe I should wax. I just don't want to sit there and have somebody lasering my vagina. So I've always waxed down there. And that's the only thing that I really think that I do that's kind of cosmetically taboo, or a lot of women would be like, oh, I just let myself. I don't, because I don't like sweating and I don't like, as much yoga as I do. I like not smelling like anything. And you don't when you wax. So I'm very grateful to have that. But also the marmalade oil with the wild yam oil in it and the cinnamon oil in it. And again, a little bit of the apple cider and the arrowroot is really great for keeping your vagina really clean. Same thing for men. The Son of Man, it does have some arrowroot and a little bit of baking soda, just for men's underarms, their face, their beards, the saliva production if they drool at night, whatever they might be dealing with. You don't have to smell anything you're dealing with. So I did make a face and body wash and body oil for women and for men.
Can we pause right quick?
Oh my gosh, yes. Stop me. What time is it? How long have we been on?
We've been on for an hour and 27 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
I just
Whenever you need to stop, let me know.
Okay.
I'm just, when I'm comfortable, I can just be like, and then this, and then that.
But I want to pause because I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a lot of static when I speak. But your enthusiasm, your love, your joy for what you do, it emanates in your name. And so, you're welcome. I just want to say for any family members who want to support you, please go to her website, CordobaOrganics.com. But if she blessed you in any way with her knowledge and wisdom and talking about her product, please feel free to give her a financial blessing. And here it is right here. This through Cash App, $CordobaOrganics.com. That's CordobaOrganics.com. Is that right?
That is very right. It's Cordoba, like the city in Spain. It's my last name. And then organics.com. And it's the same thing with PayPal. It's L@CordobaOrganics.com.
L, how do you spell L?
EL.
Okay.
CORD as in David, O, B as in boy, A, organics.com. And if you do place an order, you will get it the same 3 to 5 days it's mailed out. No one has ever waited more than 4 or 5 days for their stuff to be mailed out. I be home. I be getting stuff done. Also, I'm not online as much, so I literally just make stuff from sun up to sundown and, do my exercise and my foods in between. But this has been my focus. And also, you get a free lip balm with every order, no matter if you order a 2-ounce or a 16-ounce. It's the same across the board. all of the packaging. You have large envelopes packaging, small little envelopes for your lip balms. I'm grateful enough to have, personalized packaging for everything now. Um, you will get your stuff right away. I did say that you get a free lip balm. There is free shipping on larger orders. Even if you have a smaller order, I always take $2 off. People don't see that or know that because I'm not the best with the website details. But $2 off of every shipping charge, only
Right.
because most of my stuff is over £1 when I mail it, and that immediately goes to like $8.45. And I try not to charge people more than that for, excuse me, it's $8.45, but it automatically is about $9.30 to send priority shipping of products that are like £1, 3 ounces or higher. If it's over 15 ounces, it's a certain price. And I don't tell people that. I'm not telling them, hey, it's $9.30 for everything. That's too much. So I try not to charge people more than $8.50 for shipping and handling. And also, I'm just really grateful for your platform because I don't get to meet as many people, which is why when I'm at this event in Atlanta, I'm not going to set up a table and just sell, sell, sell. I want to, meet people more. I'll have my website available so I can dictate exactly what I think people should order or buy. And also just giving myself time to support my husband and
Yeah.
taking 2 days off. So I'm not so focused on packing stuff and making his event my lotion event. Like,
Right.
I put so many years in, I'm going to enjoy this event and just be a consumer for once and sit down and just, oh, this is what it feels like to not have the table set up. I'm doing that now. And those are the small things that I try to bless myself with instead of like, I'm going to go to, Tanzania for the month or Africa. Like, I can't do that. I have a business to run and I'm grateful that I have it. Because people need stuff. And I'm very grateful to be able to supply people with their needs every day. All these things that are here,
Yes.
they get mailed out tonight. These were ordered yesterday and the day before. I'm on like this today is day 3, but all their stuff is ready. And I have so many more orders that came in yesterday and today. And I try to just do stuff. So like yesterday's orders get made today, today's orders get made tomorrow, things like that. And I have spoiled people because people will literally call me like, I ordered Tuesday, it's Wednesday. I'm like, give me 24 hours. I promise it'll get out to you, but you get an automatic email saying it's being processed and you get a personalized email as soon as it's scanned onto the truck. So in those 3 days, you'll get an email with your tracking number and all the details so you can follow its progress and know when it's going to reach your doorstep. Just to remind people to make sure they put their apartment numbers and every label is printed electronically. I don't sit there and type your label out. So don't make a mistake on your address. Some addresses that come up unverifiable, I definitely do contact you. And I'm like, was there a mistake made here? But now that I have someone that helps me with that, they just print out the labels. So I'm asking to be a little bit more mindful because I can't sometimes call everybody that I think that it might have made a mistake with their shipping address. And that does happen, but it hasn't in a while. And that's about it. So even for everything else, face stuff, kelp help, beets and roses, foy, we have face, which is no essential oils, really great for hydration. Face, dew, daily enriching witch hazel, banana face alchemy, and the banana oil and the cherry oil are so good for dark circles, for hyperpigmentation, for blending out your skin tone. The banana face wash is amazing, really great. I do actually put and use banana peels to make those 2 products, and they're so dope. They don't spoil based on the grape seed oil and the other stuff in them. But same thing with the hair stuff. You have the rosemary baby shampoo and the oil. Then you have the hibiscus, the anise oil, the blue rice pudding, the blue Celina, the goji guru. You're not going to make a mistake with anything that you try. The OG shampoo, great for thinning hair loss, as well as the rosemary shampoo, and the aqua shampoo is dope, but it's a little bit more lemongrassy and has some palm oil and a conditioner in it, so you don't have to buy the separate conditioners. The separate conditioners like these, it's a Victory Rose like this. This is the bilberry jam as well as the jade jam. the spearmint shampoo and the spearmint oil. So good for your hair, but it smells like spearmint gum. So unless you like that smell, don't get it because it's amazing. But other than that, take care of yourselves by like being gentle with one another and yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself with diet and all that other stuff. If you can incorporate one thing a day that can help with your health and longevity, whether that's a natural tea or a juice or just, making sure you don't cook with butter, supplement all your butter with olive oil and coconut oil. Um, same thing. Don't eat too much dairy. A lot of people forget how much dairy can really affect their diet. Don't eat a lot of dairy if you can. Take away the meat out of your diet for a little while if you can. And if you can commit to even if just eating fish once a week, do that. And you'll find longevity in everything that you do. And if you can just kind of chill during the day and just do a lot of fruits and vegetables during the day and salads during the day and have one cooked meal, you won't really ever have to be on a diet like that. You'll just find such ease in your life. But other than that, thank you so much, Dr. Pruitt. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome, sister. Do you ship to Australia and abroad?
Yes, I actually just shipped to, funny enough, you said Australia. I don't know, but somebody did buy something from New Zealand. And I was like, this is my first New Zealander. But New Zealand, I get a lot of London. I get stuff in Germany, a lot of Germany. So shout outs to Germany, shout outs to London, shout outs to Europe. I have a couple people in Jamaica. I got some people in Trinidad. So I'm very grateful. It does take a while, like 2 weeks to get there. A week, like a good 12, 14 days. The Bopes that are in Germany, Gloria Bope, Dustin, you're in Germany. If you were watching this, thank you for staying consistent, even abroad. But yeah, you start to know people's names. I know so many people's random names and their emails just from staying consistent. And thank you. Also, if you subscribe, I put out, sometimes we just had a sale. It was 50% off, but I put out my little MailChimp, emails with the 50% off sales. They usually 48 hours, but if you subscribe, you'll get to those right away. But I put those out every 2 weeks. Now I'm trying to do them every week. I did have one last week and it lasted 3 days. I'm putting one out.
Where do they subscribe? How do they subscribe?
On the website. You can just go to the website and you can just subscribe and you'll be up and running. But I'm not gonna talk any longer. I haven't talked this much. Whew, it's been fun. But I try to stay, keep it moving. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. Organics.com, just in case anybody needs it again.
So they would subscribe, would go to your website and subscribe. If they want consultation, they can contact you on the website?
Yeah, you could email me. The email is on the website, but you can also, it's Celina. You could do support at CordobaOrganics.com. You could email me there. Those were all my business emails. Some people have my personal email, which is fine, but support at CordobaOrganics.com. I check that every day. You could email me questions. If you want a longer, like visual consultation, we can set something up. But I really try not to, charge people too much for stuff like that because they usually just want to know stuff that can be answered in like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
It ain't nothing for me to be able to give that to people. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I had a great time. Thank you so much.
It's been my great pleasure. I want to put your cash up again because some people are very grateful just for the information. Family, I apologize.
And are those pearls you're wearing around your neck?
Yes.
They are beautiful.
I
like
you.
the choker a lot. They're so pretty. Girl, I'm like, those are nice. That's so pretty. But thank you so much, my love. And
You're welcome.
Please send me your email. I asked Kathir for it, but I'm going to send me something this week. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Girls, thank you. Thank you for the platform and the opportunity. Thank you so much, you guys.
You're welcome. Family, I'm having problems with the sound. I don't know if you can hear the...
I can hear you. It's a little staticky, but as long as people can hear, just thank you. I don't think I don't sound staticky, do I?
No, it's just me. It's on my end.
Because you're actually hosting and putting in all the work. So thank you. I'm usually the static queen. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're
Have
welcome.
a good night.
Good night. Good night, family. We
Good
love
night.
you so
Good night
much.
to everyone. Love you all. See
Thank
you
you.
soon. Peace
My-
out. I hit leave. Okay.